some great stuff, and I know we've got about 14 minutes left on today's call. Thanks for sharing this information with us. And I know that you want to take some time for some questions, especially with our listeners, both online and those that are actually listening on phone. But before we get to those, do you want to take a moment to tell everyone about the upcoming job fair?
I do, because it's one of the biggest in the city. It's one of the biggest of the year, and it's the Northland Cathedral Career Fair. If you're here in Kansas City, what you would want to do to find the information on that is to go to northlandcathedral.org/job fair, or you could just Google Northland Cathedral Job Fair, Kansas City, Missouri, and you'll find the link that'll take you to a pre-registration page. And it's free. Of course, it's open to the public. But if you pre-register, the first 300 people that pre-register get a free lunch, which is pretty cool. So it's next Tuesday, the 25th, from 9 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I think registration there starts at 8:30. But the cool part about it is it is one of the biggest of the year. There's over 40 or 50 companies that are going to be hiring there. If you've ever been to a career fair, they are usually maybe 10 or 15 companies. This is a big one. And all of those companies are listed on the website for northlandcathedral.org/job fair. Also, the reason that I'm mentioning it is not only is it a big one you really need to attend, but there's going to be breakout sessions. So it's really kind of a career expo as well as a job fair. I'm going to be holding one of those breakout sessions. The breakout sessions are from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I don't quite know exactly when I'm going to be speaking, but when I do find out from them, then I will certainly let everyone know in an email to remind everybody of the career fair. But I'm going to be teaching effective interviewing, and it's going to be totally new information relative to what you heard today. So this is completely different. The session is called Interviewing 101, but it does cover six-figure interviewing because that's really my niche. And I am going to be sharing a lot of advanced techniques. Plus, I'm going to be conducting mock interviews during the session. Also, I'm going to be, for the rest of the day when I'm not doing the interviewing 101 and the mock interview sessions, I'm going to be sitting at a booth with one of my team members, and we're going to be giving you feedback, critiquing your resume. So hopefully we'll have a lot of people come in. I can critique a lot of resumes and give you specific advice on how to make yours more effective and how to change yours. A lot of times there's just a few tweaks that you have to make in order to really boost your effectiveness of your resume. So if you do get a chance to get there and you see me, let me know that you've been listening in on the teleclasses, because I'd really love to get your feedback on those, or on these. So with that, I'd really like to take some questions now, if you have some. And these can be relative to what we're talking about today, or it could be really anything about high-level job searching. So if there's a burning question that you have, please let me know. You can raise your hand if you're on the call by pressing *2, or you can, if you're online, I know we've got a lot of people online, you can go in the lower left-hand corner and type in your question.
And Tammy, if I recall, I believe we already have a question that was sent in early in the call.
Yeah, and it was actually sent in right after the call from last week, and he said, how do you handle HR block? And I think at first I thought he meant H&R block, but it's really, how do you keep from going into that black hole and getting nothing? Here's what I recommend. As far as interviewing goes, I really recommend getting your resume to the hiring manager. Oftentimes you can find someone that's going to be at the level that you're seeking, the level that would be hiring the position that you're seeking, and you send a resume to that person. I recommend hard copy and sending it directly to that person, so that not only does HR have a copy of it, but also the person that would be hiring you. If they're interested, they would instruct the HR person to give you a call. And also, if they're instructing the HR person, there's a really good chance that you're going to get past the HR interview. And so, just keep that in mind, and I hope that answers that question. I really recommend getting straight to the hiring manager, bypassing HR. You can still apply online or, apply on their website or wherever you found the posting, but it's really a good idea to get in front of the hiring manager, at least on paper. So I've got a question that has come up online that I see from Dan in Shawnee, that, you've got some gray hair. Should I dye my hair? Good question. I think that I would say actually no, and that might be contrary to what other people say, other career professionals say. If you're going for a senior level position, let's say you're going for a six-figure position, some gray hair is actually a good thing. You're not trying to come across as being 30 or 35. And actually, Dan, I don't know how old you are, but I would say gray hair is not a bad thing. You want to be true to who you are. Not only that, but, in talking with you, they're going to know how long your experience is. So if you do have over 20 years of experience, you don't have to hide your gray hair. There are other ways to project an attitude of enthusiasm, an attitude of high energy, that helps sell you beyond the whole gray hair thing. I really believe that really the attitude is more important than the color of your hair. Okay, so we also have Tony in Kansas City. What is the best way to start an effective job search in St. Louis while living and working in Kansas City? Very, very good question, because I have a lot of clients who are intentionally moving or transitioning to other cities. So the first thing you have to do is you have to make sure that your job search is targeted. You're looking for a certain size company, and that would be your plan A, a certain industry, and then the geographic location. And if you take those three factors along with what job you're seeking, those are really the four search criteria that you have to have. And so I recommend having a plan A. So your plan A, if you're in St. Louis, job search in St. Louis while living and working in Kansas City, you need to find those companies, and there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of online resources to do that. LinkedIn is one of those. But you can look for the size company. There's a lot of filters out there. Size company, and that could be number of people. That could be annual revenue. The industry, that would be your plan A attack, if you will. And the geographic location. So maybe it's what part of St. Louis? Is it east? Is it west? What are you looking for? Because St. Louis is a pretty big city. So pick those out, find those companies, and then proactively contact the person that would be the hiring manager of the type of job that you're seeking. In other words, you don't know if they have a job open or not, but I absolutely tell you, if you do that and you are aggressive in your marketing campaign of proactively finding those companies and letting them know through your resume, through a cover letter, even through a handwritten note, that you're wanting to join their team. You're wanting to have a conversation with them. And you could follow up with a phone call, or you could spend that time finding even more companies and really blanketing that market with your resume proactively. I do recommend a hard copy rather than trying to find an email address, which can be very hard. And hard copy will stay on somebody's desk longer than an electronic copy in an email. Somebody could easily hit delete. Somebody could, you get 10 more emails during that hour, and then the email you send them is kind of lost. So I do recommend that approach. It's a very proactive approach, and it works. I mean, that's one of the three prongs of how to find a good company and how to get hired quickly. Really, it's finding the companies that meet that target criteria, finding the companies that are growing, and you can use the St. Louis Business Journal for that, and then also networking. And you can expand your network in St. Louis by finding people within the target companies, proactively contacting those people, and having informational interviews. That really would be a really great three-pronged approach, and it's going to get you a job actually pretty quickly. So Ron in Minneapolis says, what profile is best to post on LinkedIn? One which is industry-specific or one which is industry neutral if I'm open to pursuing opportunities outside the industry that I've been in for over 25 years? Very good question. LinkedIn, I really recommend, as well as your resume, if you're looking outside of the industry or even open to pursuing the opportunities outside the industry, make it industry neutral. Take out the industry jargon, which means that you need to pass your resume along to somebody that hasn't worked in your industry, and don't give it to your spouse because they've heard that jargon. There are things that you may think are not jargon because you've worked in that industry for over 25 years that really are, so make sure there's no jargon there. Make sure that any product or service that you talk about isn't really referred to specifically. You don't want to be painted like if you listened last month, you don't want to be painted as somebody who's worked in at Russell Stover's, a candy company. I worked with a guy that worked there for almost 20 years, and he couldn't get a job outside of that because everybody saw him as the candy guy. And so once we made his resume industry neutral and made his whole campaign, including LinkedIn, industry neutral, then it became, hey, he's a sales executive. He's not a candy guy. I really believe that your whole campaign, if you're open to being outside of your industry or changing industries, needs to be completely industry neutral so they see you as the function that you've done and not brand you or define you as where you came from. That really does make a big difference in the effectiveness of your whole campaign. Is there anybody that has a question online? We got a lot. Not online. Any callers that have questions? Looks like we've got a lot of people online. Anybody have a question on the phone? Okay. I'm not seeing anything. Any other questions online? Okay. I'm not seeing anything, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you find that you do have questions later, please feel free to, you can email me, you can give me a call. I'm very accessible. Even though I've got a very packed schedule right now, it doesn't take me long to give you a quick call back or to respond to your email. You can reply to the emails that I send you via any type of newsletter that I send you or any type of update on the teleclass, or you can just simply email me directly at Tammy, Tammy, at beyondjobsearching.com. Or you can call me at 816-600-2478. Well, I think that's it, Louis. Can you think of anything else that you wanted to address in today's call?
Well, I think we should certainly thank our callers, both online and those listening, for joining us today. And as in all cases, we will continue the Six Figure Pro series in the month of June. So just be prepared that we'll be sending out some more information to share with you on some important topics that will help you in your career campaign and search. So just stay tuned as we get more information to you. And since we probably won't be talking with you before then, we also want to wish everybody a happy and blessed Memorial Day.
Yeah. I do. That brings me to a really good point. Next month, a good friend of mine has agreed to be interviewed. She's one of the national authorities on executive biographies and personal branding, and her name is Nancy Jutton. She's out on the West Coast in Washington State. Very, very well known, has written tons of books, and I know her personally, and she's willing to share with us some of the secrets of how to write an executive biography, an executive summary, an executive bio. What that does is help brand you. Again, you can use that in a lot of different situations when you're sending your resume out. So I know that one of the teleclasses that we're going to have next month is going to be a conversation with Nancy, and I'm really looking forward to that. She's a great, great resource. All right, that is it. Thank you very much for everybody that's on the call and everybody that's on the webcast. And I'll be sending out the replay. You can use that same link that you used for the webcast to listen to the replay later if you'd like to take notes on it later. Thank you very much, guys, and we will talk to you next month. Have a wonderful Memorial Day.
All right.
Take care, Louis.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.